The voice of Canadore College, we are thepanther.ca. All right, I'm not going to waste too much time introducing this bit here, but it being Remembrance Day weekend, I had stumbled across this story here, and this is actually something written by my grandmother, and that's to do with the Lancaster bomber, and the story is entitled, Does Anyone Remember Q for Queenie? War brings both triumph and tragedy, and the story of Q for Queenie was both. To the young crew that manned her on that maiden voyage, she was the pride of one late November night. The blazing city she flew above represented an honor that humanity hoped would never be repeated. She was the first Canadian-built Lancaster to leave the assembly lines in Toronto. My grandmother remembered her well. As a child, she sat huddled beside her battery-powered radio as a voice never heard again declared, "A jerry kite passed overhead on the starboard quarter." That was all there was. Yet to the family that gathered on our living room that autumn night, it was a thrill that even Aldwin and Armstrong could not equal. It was November 1943, the first flight of Queenie. It was broadcasted, filmed, and played on movie screens across the country. For a short while, the crew on the plane were celebrities. Their young faces smiled with our local newspapers. Proud parents read them with wonder. They were the young men that made Canada our future. How quickly it passed, and all but parents forgot. The conveyor of that speech was a young boy from our area. In the few short years of his life, he had only known the dust-covered roads of the country and the surrounding fields of his farm. He enlisted early in 1941. He trained as an air gunner in Paulson, Manitoba. He was in England in time for the night raids in Berlin. He was at that time 20 years old. His mother had stood some months before at a lonely railroad crossing. Well, the evening train thundered across the roadside, taking with it all her hopes and dreams, along with it, her youngest son. And I'd like to say that he had returned triumphantly, bearing medals and citations of honor. I'd even like to say that he had returned. It does not end that way. He was not meant to love, marry, have children, settle comfortably into his old age. He was not meant to walk again in the paths of home he loved so well. The last entry in his logbook was January 14th, 1944. In all, he and his crewmates flew 18 missions into Germany, his last to Brunswick, Germany on January 15th, 1944. Like so many others, they fought and they died. It wasn't until September 1944 that the Queenie was proclaimed officially dead. Back at home, all that followed was a letter of confirmation stating that his logbook was a part of his service estate. He rests quietly beside his companions and crew members in a military cemetery in Germany. Plot 5, Row C, grave number 14. His only memorial is the border of petunias that blow unattended in the wind, just as they did at home.
Hello, Mark Heenan? Speaking. Where are you?